He had described the foggy head brain and the difficult decision making and just not feeling comfortable in the airplane. It concerned me a lot.
Around November, I recall some of the symptoms that started to kick in, which were just very odd and troublesome for me, were this like tightness in my forehead. I felt like somebody was squeezing my forehead from the inside. I couldn't describe it, but I had this heavy head. I felt fatigued.
With all the things that were going on with him, is it possible that he is coming down with an ALS or some type of MS because he's starting to exhibit these neuromuscular problems?
Everything bothered me. I mean, the slightest noise would wake me up. I could hear my cat walking on the carpeting, and that was just bizarre to me. Any noise in the home woke me up. My sleep habits went from, it got to the point, matter of fact, I remember telling my niece that if I fell asleep downstairs watching a movie, don't wake me, because I wanted to sleep, but I couldn't sleep.
He would be trembling. We would get into bed and he would start trembling as if someone who were ill with the flu would have the shakes and those types of tremors. And I, of course, would ask him, Greg, what's the matter with you? He would say nothing. And I said, well, you're trembling. You're physically trembling. I could feel you. You're shaking the bed. I'm not touching you, but I can feel you trembling. He says, I don't know. I don't know.
I had gone through trauma of my own. I had gone through a very deep thought process about things. And I remembered when he was talking that some of the situations that he was coming up with, numbness, kind of dullness, I was remembering them for feelings that I had with myself when the first shock came in, and then dealing with traumas. And it was very hard for a very long time with all the things, all the pressures that came associated with September 11th.
It got to the point where Greg was so frustrated because we went and had MRIs of his brain when he was exhibiting the neuromuscular problems. Came back negative, which was good, but again, also upsetting, because we don't know why these things are happening to him. CAT scans, stress tests, everything came back normal. They kept saying, there's nothing physically wrong with you. It's all stress related. You are stressed from your hospitalization stay, triggered a stress reaction from your close proximity to the 9/11 tragedy.
So now it's years later, and here he is bringing up all these symptoms that I could identify with as being in shock and being on overload. And I remembered how my body would just shut down. It just, when you get to a point where you can't handle things, your body really does shut down. Not completely, but you get a dullness and I was confused with him too, and I really thought that he might be going through a post-traumatic stress syndrome.
He didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. But we had nothing else. We had no other physical evidence to prove what was wrong with him. So after fighting our general practitioner and, saying, no, there has to be something else, and no, there has to be something else, he finally acquiesced. We went on with a diagnosis of stress anxiety and progressed by treating it in that manner. But Greg was not happy about that. He was not happy at all.
About 1 year and 1 month after having been discharged from the hospital, I had dinner with an acquaintance and his wife in New York City, and just over casual conversation, she mentioned she had a problem with a drug. She almost couldn't make our dinner engagement. And we just were talking about it, and I said, oh, what was the drug? And she said it was this drug called Levaquin. It's only an antibiotic. Why would that cause a problem? And she informed me that it's really not just a basic antibiotic. It's a kind of an atom bomb of antibiotics.
Oh, no. This drug is a very high-powered, it's a dangerous drug. She says a lot of people have drug reactions to this. She says, I had one. All these symptoms, Greg, that I think that you said, that's possible that could be it. She said, go on the internet. It's widely documented. There are thousands of people who've had these drug reactions.
I was flabbergasted, because that's when the bulb went off that I said, this is what I've been telling people for over a year, and no one believes me, or at least they don't want to believe me, or they just can't acknowledge that they believe me. And I said it was almost like someone took everything I had written down and put it on the internet, which I didn't know about. And I had never looked at that prior to that point.
He said, check out these websites. You're not going to believe it. And I did. And I started reading some of the testimonials from people and heard about all their reactions and actions and what was happening, how, people went bankrupt trying to figure out what it was that they could possibly do in their lives to get some semblance of order. Had he not had this chance conversation with one individual, he would still be in the same situation.
I think people that might be watching this film should at least take away that there's a great amount of anger in my life about what I've been through for 2 years. I questioned everything in my life. I've seen therapists, psychiatrists, physicians, neurologists, everybody under the sun, and no one could really identify what I thought to become the problem here. And I guess the outrage for me is I really thought something else was going on in my life to the point that I was quite concerned about my life. I really didn't know what was going on. I thought, if this is what a nervous breakdown is, I guess I'm having one. But it was extremely upsetting for me, and it's been a terrible hardship on my spouse and myself and my career and everything else involved.
It destroys a life for years and years and years. And how could you even think that that's a consideration? I don't know.
I'm optimistic that I'm going to make a 100% recovery here, and I'm going to get back in the cockpit, and I'll be fine to be left alone, and I'll never take this stuff again.
Whenever you hear the statistics about, it's such a low portion of the population, it's something like half of 1%. And it's like, okay, well, if half of 1% is thousands of people, how is that still okay? It's not okay to affect people's lives this way, regardless of what the numbers are.
I can't sleep through the night. The way you done me, you know it ain't right. I can't do the things I used to do. I got the Levaquin blues. My mind is foggy, I can't hardly speak. My body's aching and my knees are weak. It's been years, but I ain't over you. I got the Levaquin blues. Ruptured tendons, seizures too. Suicidal thoughts could happen to you. Permanent nerve damage, sunburn like rash. Since I took that drug, my health's been trash. I asked about side effects, the doctor said no, 'cause the drug company told me so. Because of greed, I've been screwed. I got the Levaquin blues. We got the Levaquin blues.
God damn it, I'm tired of it all.
Damn pills.
And these damn pills, they're getting to me. They've got me out of my mind.
Goddamn pills.
So damn the pills. And let it go.